stop. Please stop scrolling for just 5 seconds and look at me. Are you exhausted? Not just physically tired, but deeply, soul-crushingly exhausted from pretending everything is fine. From wearing that smiling mask while silently mourning the years that seem to have slipped right through your fingers. You've chased the ultimate American dream, haven't you? Go to college, get the degree, climb the corporate ladder, secure the mortgage, fill the 2-car garage, and work weekends to get that promotion. We were all sold the same lie. Once you cross the finish line, you'll be happy. Harvard psychologist Tal Ben-Shahar calls this the arrival fallacy. Remember the day you bought that house or got that big title? How long did the joy last? 3 months? 6? Then that quiet, echoing emptiness crept right back in. If you are in your 40s, 50s, or 60s, you are not having a midlife crisis. You are having a midlife awakening. Society tells us that aging is a disease, a steady decline that we must fight with anti-aging creams and sheer denial. But sociology tells a massive, beautiful truth that the media ignores. The U-curve of happiness. Global studies prove that human stress and anxiety peak in our late 40s. That is the bottom of the U. But here is the incredible part. Starting in your 50s, that curve shoots upward. Your brain is literally rewiring itself for peace, acceptance, and profound joy. The pain you feel right now isn't the end. It's the labor pains of a new beginning. Grab a cup of coffee and settle in. Because for the next hour, we are going to unpack the 5 psychological truths that will completely rewrite the second half of your life. The human mind is a time machine, but unfortunately, it prefers to travel to our darkest moments. Our second truth deals with the heaviest luggage you carry, your regrets and your what-ifs. When we cross 40, we start taking inventory. I shouldn't have stayed in that toxic marriage for a decade. I wish I had been at my kid's soccer game instead of pulling an all-nighter for a boss who replaced me anyway. You have a courtroom inside your head, and you are the prosecutor, the judge, and the defendant. And your verdicts are ruthless. In psychology, this is called the sunk cost fallacy. You've invested so much time into a career or a relationship that you couldn't walk away, even when it was destroying you. And when you finally did, you punished yourself for not doing it sooner. How do we break this cycle? Through a powerful psychological practice developed by Dr. Tara Brach and Dr. Marsha Linehan called radical acceptance. Radical acceptance doesn't mean saying what happened was good or fair. It means you stop fighting reality. Think about it. The younger you, the one who made those choices, was doing the absolute best they could with the tools, the trauma, and the limited information they had at the time. Dr. Kristen Neff, a pioneer in self-compassion, asks, "Would you ever speak to a struggling friend the way you speak to yourself?" Close the doors to that mental courtroom today. You cannot time travel to change the past, but you can end its tyranny over your present mind right this second. Put down the invisible backpack. you don't have to carry it anymore. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. The truth we spend billions of dollars trying to hide from. As we age, as we lose our parents, as we notice our bodies changing, we collide with our own finitude. When the house is quiet at night, the thought creeps in, my time is running out. Existential psychiatrist Irvin Yalom says that death anxiety is the hidden engine behind almost everything we do. We buy expensive cars, chase status, or numb ourselves with addictions just to avoid that terrifying realization. But ancient Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca gave us a profound tool. Memento mori. Remember, you must die. This isn't a depressing thought. It is the most liberating, life-giving truth in the world. If you had infinite time, nothing would matter. That cup of coffee, the hug from your spouse, the crisp autumn air, they only have value because they are limited. Steve Jobs famously said in his Stanford address, "Remembering that I'll be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever encountered to help me make the big choices in life." Why? Because all external expectations, all pride, all fear of embarrassment, they just fall away in the face of death. Fearing death usually means you fear you haven't truly lived your life. You've lived the life society expected of you. If you have 30 summers left, how are you going to spend them? Use your mortality not as a panic button, but as a filter. When you truly grasp that your time is limited, saying no to toxic people becomes effortless. Caring about the opinions of people who won't be at your funeral becomes impossible. Our fourth truth tackles the silent epidemic of modern America. The U.S. Surgeon General recently declared loneliness a public health crisis, stating it is as deadly as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. When the kids go off to college and the empty nest hits, or when you retire and lose that built-in network of coworkers, the silence in those big American houses can be deafening. You start to wonder, am I forgotten? Am I no longer needed? But psychology draws a massive, life-saving line between two words: loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is an external lack. It is painful. You can be profoundly lonely in a crowded room or lying next to your spouse in a broken marriage. It's the pain of not being seen. Solitude, however, is a choice. It is the art of becoming your own best company. Psychoanalyst Carl Jung believed we can only truly face our shadows and become whole in silence. For decades, you've been a provider, a parent, an employee. You poured all your energy outward. The noise of everyone else's needs drowned out your own voice. Stop viewing the quiet house as an abandonment. View it as a long overdue date with yourself. Take yourself to a restaurant. Pick up that guitar you abandoned at 20. When you build a fortress of peace inside your own mind, you will never be afraid of being alone again. And, ironically, when you master solitude, your relationships improve, because you choose people out of desire, not out of desperate need. Fifth truth: you stop consuming and you start generating. Developmental psychologist Erik Erikson divided human life into 8 stages. The core psychological conflict of middle and later adulthood is generativity versus stagnation. We are biologically and psychologically wired to leave something behind for the next generation. If we don't, we fall into a deep, depressive stagnation. Capitalism has tricked us into believing that legacy means a trust fund, a real estate portfolio, or having your name slapped on a hospital wing. But the human brain doesn't care about that. Neuroscience proves that our brains release massive amounts of dopamine and oxytocin when we guide, give, and connect without expecting anything in return. Your true legacy is psychological and social. Maybe it's mentoring that anxious 20-something intern at your office, teaching them resilience instead of just spreadsheets. Maybe it's volunteering. Or perhaps your greatest legacy will simply be breaking the chain of generational trauma in your own family. Teaching your adult kids healthy boundaries and emotional regulation that your parents never taught you. You are a walking, breathing library of distilled wisdom. Do not let that library burn to the ground when you leave this earth. When you become a pillar for someone else, your own existential crisis simply evaporates. Meaning isn't something you find out there. It's something you build by being of service. And here we are, at the threshold of what Jane Fonda beautifully calls the third act, or what I like to call your second act. Our culture has conditioned us to fight everything. Fight the wrinkles, fight the gray hair, fight the scale. But psychological resilience isn't about fighting aging. It's about evolving into your wisdom. Yes, your physical energy might not be what it was at 25, but you know what else is gone? The agonizing mental chaos of being 25. The desperate need for approval. The crippling paranoia of, what will people think? You now possess a superpower. Clarity. You know exactly what you will tolerate and what you will absolutely walk away from. Neuroplasticity studies show that the older brain is less reactive and far superior at seeing the big picture, at seeing the truth. So I am asking you today, drop the heavy armor of expectations. The past is a memory that no longer exists. The future is just an illusion your brain is trying to predict. Your only true currency is right now, the breath you just took. Forgive yourself. Embrace the beautiful, scarred, incredibly resilient human you have become. If you've stayed with me for this hour, if this conversation resonated with that quiet voice inside you, please know you are part of a massive, silent community waking up together. I want you to go down to the comments right now and share your second act story. Let's remind each other that we are not alone in these isolated suburban boxes. Please subscribe and like the video to join our community of conscious aging and psychology. Stay in the present, be incredibly kind to yourself, and I will see you in the next one.